up, everybody? Welcome back to Brian Knows Movies. This is my first live stream. I was thinking this is going to be an exciting live stream, but then I saw these Oscar nominations and specifically the snubs that happened, and it had me in my feelings this morning. I don't understand how the Academy made some of the choices made. Sorry, sorry. Let's see. Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. Like I said, it was my first one, so sorry about the technical difficulties. But basically, I'll talk about the technical difficulties that this silly Academy Awards are looking like. I don't understand what they were doing with a lot of the awards. But before I get started, I do want to give some shout outs. You know, congratulations to Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was my favorite movie of last year, and it is leading in nominations, 11 nominations. Also, All Quiet on the Western Front has been making a really big push the last couple of months, and they have 9 nominations. And Banshees of Inisherin has 9 nominations too. Those are all great films that I think that they're deserving of those spaces. I also want to say for my audience that doesn't know, remember that the Oscars and all these awards have to do with obviously um, the how strong the movies are and the performances are and the production aspects of things. But it's also campaigns like the studios put a lot of money into doing screenings and in gifts, trying to get their movies in front of Academy Award voters and other voters of other award shows, and so it's political as well. So it's not so much 100% meritocracy as it is. There's meritocracy in terms of you have to be good, but then also you have to be good enough for your studio to believe in you to put some money behind your campaign, or your studio needs to have some money to put behind a campaign, right? So I think some of that stuff is going to come into play as we go forward and talk about them. I'm not going to talk about all the awards, obviously, because we'll be here all day, but I will talk about the main four acting awards: Best Director as well as Best Picture. I do have my comments and reactions open. So if anybody has a question or wants, please put that in the comment section. Everybody can read it. So if you have any comments about any of this stuff, let me know. I'm going to jump right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is Best Supporting Actor. Now, I thought that this actually was pretty good. This is probably the best nomination of these are probably the best nominations of all of them. I think that they got this right. Brendan Gleeson with Banshees, he was excellent. Brian Tyree Henry, it was a really quiet role in Causeway, but it was a very powerful role. I'm glad to see him. I'm actually surprised to see him get nominated, even though he was getting nominated for other awards. But at least we have him here, which I'm very excited about. Judd Hirsch is pretty much in one scene in The Fablemans, but he has a soliloquy slash speech that he's giving in that one scene that I think is worthy of a nomination. I thought that he was pretty good in the movie. It makes me think of, to a lesser extent, Anne Hathaway. She was in more of the movie than Judd Hirsch is of The Fablemans, but Anne Hathaway in Les Mis about 10 years ago, and how she actually won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. And she was barely in the film, but when she was in the film, she used that space pretty mildly. Barry Cogan, I think Barry Cogan and Brendan Gleeson can continue to cancel each other out in terms of wins. Kehu Kwan, it's his award. We already know it. He's won everything else. He's going to win this one. And he's excellent in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He's one of my favorite parts of the whole show. I think that Best Supporting is probably the least... it's the least surprising of all of them. I don't think that there was anything I would consider a snub with Best Supporting. Everything seemed to come pretty straightforward for me. I'm looking at my list here. Yeah, there's nothing really on here that there's nobody that I can see that's missing that I'd be like, what's going on, you know? So, yeah. Now, Best Supporting Actress looks pretty good too. Angela Bassett, she's going to win. She's won everything else, and man, it is deserving. It's one of those award wins where it's the performance. Obviously, I think that they intentionally gave her some dialogue and some speeches in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever because they wanted her to get this role, and she delivered the lines. She delivered the goods in that film. It's the first award nomination out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and going to someone who's more than deserving. I think Angela Bassett. If Angela Bassett would have came around maybe 10 or 15 years after her career actually started, like I feel like she just came too early. Black women just were not getting the roles they deserved back in the late '80s and the '90s when Angela Bassett, even after she got What's Love Got to Do with It, and I believe she was nominated for What's Love Got to Do with It, which was probably 25, 30 years ago now. I can't remember the exact date that that movie came out. Probably about 25 years ago. We really didn't see her in much. They were not giving roles to black women, specifically leading roles where they had agency and were able to compete for some of these awards. Viola Davis has probably done the best out of anyone in recent years. But even like Halle Berry, she won the Oscar, the first black woman to win Best Actress, and she couldn't get any work that was of meaning. I mean, she got Catwoman, and people say that she was that kind of messed her career up because Catwoman was so bad. But she shouldn't have to do Catwoman anyway. She should have been in awards contention year after year after year, but they just were not giving her the roles. Angela Bassett's the same way, but when she is in the films, small, large, if she's on television, she's delivering the goods. So she is definitely deserving. Hong Chow in The Whale, I think that she was amazing. The movie and that relationship with Brendan Fraser's character, I just don't think it works without her in there. So it's definitely warranted. Carrie Condon was good in Banshees. I don't think that she's going to be a contender on Oscar night, but she's deserving of her nomination. Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hugh, they're going to cancel each other out. Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, was she was fun. She was fun everything everywhere all at once. I think it's similar to Angela Bassett, where she's getting both nominators. The people who are voting on the nominations are giving it to her before her performance, but also it's one of those career congratulations type of nominations as well. But I think that this was pretty good. Now let's start talking about Best Actor. It's a three-man race. Austin Butler for Elvis. I think that he was great in Elvis. I thought Elvis was a terrible film. I hated the movie. I hated the direction. I'm just not a big Baz Luhrmann fan and the way that he does things. The first 20, 30 minutes of the movie is just so disorienting and not in a great way. The way they do the church scenes in the beginning, I think, is downright offensive in terms of black church revivals and those types of things. I think that the way that they tried to sanitize Elvis's character and put all of the onus on his manager for some of his misdealings, I thought that was a mistake. It just wasn't a movie for me. Didn't like it, but Austin Butler is hard to argue with the fact that he was phenomenal in it. I'm gonna skip Colin Farrell for a second. Brendan Fraser in The Whale is my favorite performance of the year from a male. It's my favorite performance. I will say that Brendan Fraser is also my go-to to win here. Paul Mescal with After Sun. I have not had a chance to see After Sun. It was one of the smaller films, just like I haven't had a chance to see Living. Living and After Sun, they had very limited releases. They were not in theaters that long. Living never even came to where any of the theaters that I'm at close to. So these are movies I'm going to try to check out their performances before Oscar night, of course. But either way, it's been a three-man race in every other award show. Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, and Brendan Fraser. Colin Farrell has not gotten over the hump. It looks like Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser have won pretty much all of those awards. But I will say that I view those performances neck and neck. I think Brendan Fraser is the best, but I mean, it's 1A, 1B, 1C. I think that Colin Farrell has the best movie. The Banshees of Inisherin is the best movie of any of the ones that are nominated here, as far as I know. Like I said, I haven't seen Actor Son. I heard a lot of great things about Actor Son. Elvis is just downright terrible, and The Whale to me has a lot of complications in terms of its sensitivity to certain issues and certain identities, but I liked the film. Also, there was some. It was kind of uneven in terms of the performances in that film. Colin Farrell has a great performance in the best movie, probably. I mean, second best movie of the year, in my opinion. It's somewhere between one of the top five movie, and it's not five. It's somewhere at the top. So I'm okay with this. Now, this is where the first snubs come through. You think that you even got a Tom Cruise here. We've seen him in other spaces. People are calling that a snub. I don't know if I think that that's a snub. Once again, I haven't seen After Sun or Living, so I don't know about Paul Mescal and Bill Nye there. But I don't see that performance was in an action movie where I don't think Tom Cruise really did much more than what he does in other films. Now, mind you, I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan. I the Mission Impossible franchise is probably my favorite franchise of all time. I love his action. I love his sci-fi. And I think that Born on 4th of July is one of my favorite movies. He can act, and I think that he was acting great in Top Gun. But to say that it's an Oscar-worthy performance, I never was on board with that, but a lot of people think so. I wonder if it's one of those things again. Is it a nomination that people wanted for his career or for the movie? Top Gun's great. He's good in it, but let's be real. It's a typical Tom Cruise performance. This is a very white list of actors too. If I can just be candid about it, but in saying that, I wish that we had some more diversity amongst the nominations here. But I don't know who I would slot in based off the films that I saw. Will Smith in Emancipation would probably have taken that Paul Mescal place if he didn't have all of the controversy surrounding him. I wasn't a fan of Emancipation, but it'd be silly to say that Will Smith wasn't incredible in it. I think he would have got that fifth spot as a nomination for the Academy Awards. I don't think he would have won, but I think that I actually like his performance in Emancipation more than I liked it in King Richard. So it's a very strong performance. I think that the top three here they're some of the best performances of the last 5 years, though. But that's one. John Boyega was in a movie called. It was in a movie in August called Breaking. I want to say it was about a man who wasn't getting his benefit payments correctly, and ended up basically taking over this bank, robbing this bank to try to get his benefits. I thought that was a really great performance. That's something I could see slid in here, but it had no type of buzz or any type of campaign around it. So those are the only two people I can think of that are black. Anyway, if you know anybody else, please let me know in the comments section below if you can think of any minority actors that you would like to see in this category. But in terms of the diversity, I don't really see an issue here because I just don't know what performances belonged here. Because when you say somebody's a snub, you have to pick somebody to take out. And I don't know, outside of Will Smith, which we know that wasn't going to happen. That's probably not going to happen for a number of years at this point. I really don't know who could have been slotted here. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Let me know. Now, this is where the bull starts. This is some highway robbery for particularly black women in terms of Best Actress category. We have Cate Blanchett in Tar. We have Ana de Armas in Blonde. Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. Michelle Williams for The Fablemans. Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh have been pretty much winning everything. And I think it's going to come up between those two. I finally saw Tar. Tar was another movie that wasn't in theaters long, but they just re-released it in theaters because of award season. I finally went to go see it, and I thought that it was really good. I do believe that Cate Blanchett does deserve the nomination here, but maybe I wish I would have saw before I heard all the hype about it, because there's a lot of critics and podcasters that I respect deeply that were trying to say that this was like a movie of the decade contender that this is going to be studied. This is a movie that's going to be studied and revered for years to come. And I don't understand what the hype was about. I mean, the movie. First of all, I think that it's going to win original screenplay, or it should, based off of those who were nominated. I think that it was beautifully written. The cadence, the story arc, Kate Blanchett's dialogue specifically, very smart dialogue. I know, understand Kate Blanchett did a lot of things to prepare for this role, from learning German to piano and all those other types of things. But in saying that, I don't know what she did that was so much better than what Michelle Yeoh did in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Um, I'll just say now, Daniel Deadweiler not being nominated for Teal is one of the biggest snubs. Not only it's the biggest snub of this Oscar race, and one of the biggest snubs of the past 10 years. I can't actually think of anything that's a bigger snub than Daniel Deadweiler not being nominated here. That was some bullcrap. I don't know what they were thinking. I have an opinion. I'm gonna go to with that, but Kate Blanchett, Daniel Deadweiler, and Michelle Yeoh, I think that the performances are neck and neck. It's not like a foregone conclusion that Kate Blanchett should win here. I was talking to some people the other day, and I was like, Tar is not very accessible because of the subject matter. Specifically, in the first 20-25 minutes of the movie, there's a lot of references to classical musical and classical composers, both historic composers as well as modern composers. And the way they talk about music, it sounds beautiful, but you don't really know what they're talking about. So it's like, how am I supposed to really judge the how good this movie is on that type of level? It reminded me a lot of Shakespeare. You know, some people love Shakespeare because Shakespeare is incredible, but some people just like Shakespeare because it's a smart thing to do, like Shakespeare. I feel like it's a smart thing to do to like Tar, even though it's really hard to pinpoint what's so much special about this than it is the other thing. There's like Shakespeare. I think Romeo and Juliet is one of the most overrated plays or pieces of art that I've ever read or saw. But I love King Lear. I love Hamlet. Well, Hamlet's okay with me. I love King Lear specifically. Othello are probably my favorite too. I can say specifically why I like those, and why I don't like other pieces of Shakespeare. But if you talk to some people, everything Shakespeare did was incredible because it sounds good and it sounds smart, and I think that makes me sound smart to say it. Maybe I'm being a little judgy, but I feel like Tar is the same way. Either way, if Kate Blanchett wins, I think it'll be deserving. Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh are the only ones I think that should win. Ana de Armas, she's been constantly nominated again in a movie that is not good and is downright offensive and blonde. But Ana de Armas is really good in it, so I understand This is a Oscar that this is Oscars. This has been an award season that's been recognizing a lot of acting in really bad movies, which is weird to me. But anyway, Ana de Armas, she's great. Michelle Williams, her performance in The Fablemans is just very weird to me. I don't think she's in the movie enough to be a Best Actress nominee. I felt that she should have been Best Supporting in every awards that she's been going for, but she continues to make the Best Actress list, even though she's not even really in the movie that much. I think it's reputation because she's been nominated a gazillion times too. Maybe that has something to do with it, but Andrea Riseborough is in a movie called To Leslie, something that nobody on the planet knew about until some actors started to tweet about it. And Kate Blanchett said something at I think it was either the Screen Actor Guild or the Critic Choice Awards about Andrea Riseborough and To Leslie. And it's a movie about addiction and alcoholism. I've never seen it. She might be incredible in it. The fact of the matter is, To Leslie has made $22,000, period, in the United States. $27,000 worldwide box office. No one has seen this film. And when I say that Andrea Riseborough hasn't really been nominated for anything until this point, and now she gets an Oscar nomination. Explain that to me. Because a bunch of Edward Norton and Kate Blanchett said something on the screen. Edward Norton tweeted about it. Kate Winslet's been doing some things with Andrea Riseborough real recently, within the last month. And now Academy Award Academy Award voters put her in the Best Actress category for this small film. And the reason it irks me is because both Daniel Deadweiler, who to me has the best performance of the year, and she's been nominated for everything up until this point, except for the Golden Globes. Um, Viola Davis for The Woman King. She gets snubbed here. Black women suffer because of this campaign. And Andrea Riseborough, like I said, to Leslie, I haven't seen the movie. She might be better in To Leslie than Daniel Deadweiler in Teal and Viola Davis in The Woman King. It's possible, objectively speaking, I can say that that's a possibility. But let's be serious here. She had a campaign thrown at her because of the privilege of being connected to certain actors and her agent being connected to certain actors. People that she's worked with in the past are advocating and starting this grassroots campaign for her. And what happens is she takes the spot of someone who's had more successful movies and has made a very big. You know how much of a slight that is to Black people, where you have one of the biggest travesties of in the history of Black Americans specifically finally put on screen in a way that is phenomenal. It's heartbreaking. Dale Deadweiler could not have done that any better. Till people don't understand how big of a risk it was to make that movie, and if that movie was bad, how career ending it would have been for the folks that was in that movie, because that subject, Emmett Till is a treasure to Black people, tragic treasure, and they had to do that movie right, and they did. And the things that Daniel Deadweiler emotionally had to deal with to make that movie, it deserved to be nominated here, if not won. But Angela Riseborough, who apparently has a very strong performance, don't get me wrong, gets this campaign for this super small movie that nobody saw, and now she's in this third spot. Help me make sense. Somebody in the comments, if you've seen it, help me make sense of it. I can't. The Woman King, Viola Davis. I think that Viola Davis is better than Michelle Williams. I think that her performance is better than Michelle Williams, at least on here. She should be there. What happened here? And the reason it also makes me mad is because actors and actresses of color would never get that type of grassroots campaign. It's never happened in the past, and it won't happen in the near future. There are plenty of movies, small budget films that only show on a couple screens that or just stream, that focus on Black stories or Latinx stories or Asian American stories or what have you, that would not have gotten that type of grassroots push this late in the award season. It'd be different if we were hearing about Andrew Riseborough and this small film back in November. We just started hearing about this end of December, January, and now, right when voting pretty much opened for the Oscars, and now she's in this spot. I'm not saying it's even fair to her, but people are going to look at that as she's the one that stole that spot from Black women. And it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. The Academy Awards, the Motion Picture Arts, they got it wrong. They definitely got it wrong here. So that's my 2 cents. Who I think is going to win? I think Cate Blanchett's going to win. Who I want to win? I think I want Michelle Yeoh to win. I think just because I think it was the best movie of the year. I think Tar's a little bit overrated at this point. If Cate Blanchett or Michelle won, then that would be fine with me. I wouldn't bat an eye. Michelle Williams, watch out for her because she's lost a lot. And usually when you lose a lot of awards, people start to kind of, that's what I'm saying. It's not a meritocracy because there's a lot of emotion that goes into the voting for these films. And Michelle Williams, Steven Spielberg is beloved. Michelle Williams, it's really, just watch out for that. If Angela Riseborough wins, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. $27,000 total, not in one. In the totality of that movie being out, $27,000 worldwide is what it's made. There is a movie called The Devil Conspiracy. I think The Devil Conspiracy, which is the worst movie I've ever seen, I think that's made more than $27,000 at this point. Let me check that out real quick. Box Office Mojo. The Devil Conspiracy, the worst movie ever to exist, made $719,000 world. I mean domestic. It's $719,000 worldwide gross right now is what the Devil Conspiracy is at. And so this little film, that's how few. I mean, I think it probably only played in like New York or L.A. or something, and that was it in terms of U.S. box office for to Leslie. It's a shame. It's a shame. Director is another. I don't get it. I don't get it. I do get it. I don't know what to say about this. There's no women on this list, and um, if it's going to be a snub, who do you take off? Ruben Ostlund and Triangle of Sadness got a lot of nominations. Ruben Ostlund, Triangle of Sadness. I think this is a something that we've seen in the past few years, where the Academy of Motion Picture Arts has gotten a lot more internationalized in terms of trying to diversify their voting pool, and we've seen this come into play positively for other films in the last few years. Triangle of Sadness has been very popular in Europe and other places of the world, and I think that this is more of an international type of praise with Triangle of Sadness getting a nomination here. I think that it's fine. I mean, Triangle of Sadness was okay. I think it's a little bit overrated, but I think it was okay. I think I gave it like 4 stars when I did my review on it. It was fine. It's a little bit too long for me. There's parts of it that it's fine. Todd Field for Tar. I mean, I think that Tar should win Best Screenplay. I don't know if he'll win Best Director. There's some issues I have with that film too. Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that's deserving. Mark McDonough for The Banshees. Like I said, Banshees is one of the best movies of the year. Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans. I think Steven Spielberg is probably the favorite here, once again, because of legacy, as well as the craft. The Fablemans is a very well crafted movie because that's what Steven Spielberg does. And of the nominees here, outside of the Daniels, I don't really see anyone competing with him. Mark McDonough, maybe Mark McDonough, but I think the Fablemans wins here. Sarah Polley for Women Talking. It's a movie I haven't seen yet. I've heard great things. I'm trying to find a theater to see it now. It's just now getting a limited release. So I'm hoping to see that soon. I think that Women Talking would have done better if it came out late November, beginning December. I don't know why they kept pushing that movie back. I just don't think enough people saw it, and it just wasn't on enough people's minds. So it missed a lot of nominations that probably could have been had for acting categories as well. Sarah Polley probably could have been in this space. Like I said, I haven't seen it, so maybe it's a little there's something wanting there. I don't know. We'll see soon, but it's a movie that had a lot of buzz about it throughout the year, and it's not represented here. Gina Prince Blythewood, what they had to do to make the Woman King. I think Gina Prince Blythewood would be somebody I would have won on that Triangle of Sadness spot. If I put anybody there, it would have been her. So that's where it is. But pay attention to his Best Director, because that's going to be key for Best Picture. I can't remember too many times where the movie that wins Best Picture also didn't have a nomination for Best Director. So see, we have Tar, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, Triangle of Sadness, and The Fablemans. Now, when we go to Best Picture, we see All Quiet on the Western Front, which is, again, was making some pretty big moves the last couple of months. And it's a really great movie. It's on Netflix right now if you haven't seen it. Avatar, it's real sad. I hear that there's some people who are mad that it wasn't completely faithful to the source material, either the original movie that came back out in the I think the 30s or the 40s, or the book. But I think that it's really, it shows you the horrors of war. It's an anti-war movie. I don't call it a war movie. It's an anti-war movie. Avatar: The Way of Water, 13 years in the making. Amazing visual effects, not practical, but amazing visual effects. Amazing world building, definitely deserves to be in Best Picture. The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, get Elvis out of here. Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablements, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking. So, Banshees of Inisherin, Best Director nomination. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Best Director nomination. The Fablements, Best Director nomination. Tar, Best Director nomination. Triangle of Sadness, Best Director nomination. So, of the 10 films, those are the 5 films I would pay attention to. The Banshees, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablements, Tar, Triangle of Sadness. I think it's going to come down to those 5. Now, could we be surprised? Yes. Could All Quiet on the Western Front make a push? Possibly. Could Top Gun be a dark horse candidate because it made so much money? Or Avatar be a dark horse candidate because it was so transcendental and they may want to make up for the previous Avatar? I don't know, but I think that we're going to be pretty consistent here. That's going to be one of those top 5. My pick, I really think it's down to 3 other 5. I think it's going to be a three-headed race. Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablements, and The Banshees of Inisherin. Everything Everywhere All at Once would be my pick because again, it's my favorite movie of the year. But I wouldn't be surprised if Banshees or Fablements won. I think Banshees probably has a better chance than Fablements, to be honest with you. I can see Spielberg getting the best director for the Fablements, and then the Banshees winning. Could be, which is why I think, or Spielberg wins for best director. Everything Everywhere All at Once wins best picture. I think it's going to fall something like that. Um, Again, Triangle of Sadness. I just feel like the Woman King should be here somewhere. I really do. I would again put it in the Triangle of Sadness category or Avatar category. I know some people think that Black Panther Wakanda Forever not getting a Best Picture nomination was a snub. I do not. I think that this is a pretty heavy category. I think that the Woman King should have been nominated before this. Before, like, Black Panther is pretty far back on the list I would get to before I would say that it's a snub. Like even Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, I would probably have nominated for Best Picture over Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. So I'm not so upset about that. But The Woman King, I'm a little disappointed that it didn't get one of the 10 nominations because, especially since Gina Prince Bythewood didn't get a nomination for Best Director, she should have got one of those 5 extra spots for the work just to celebrate the work of that film. But anyway, those are my reactions. I don't know what to think of. I don't know what to think about these nominations as a whole in terms of what that means for the Academy. It seems like they take one step forward, 2 steps back on this diversity thing. And again, it's people are voting. It's not a meritocracy. Okay. Let me slow down. I'm getting upset again. Going back to this travesty of Best Actress, for her to get one of those spots, they have to vote 1 through 5. That's the way the voters do. It's like the NBA ballots and stuff. You vote for your first number 1, your number 2, your number 3, number 4, number 5. People were putting Andrew Riseborough somewhere between 3 to 5. We know that. How many of those people really saw this movie? I just don't. Am I being too cynical here? I just don't think enough people saw this movie to vote for it like that. I think that people were just voting for it because people told them to vote for it. Now, people told them to vote for all these movies and all these people, but come on, man. It's just so icky. It's so icky. But that's why we have things like NAACP Image Awards and Black Critics Association and other awards to celebrate, our actors because this shouldn't be as surprising as it is for me, but it is. It's very surprising. Anyway, I'm doing movie reviews, movie reactions, movie news on my channel all the time. You can subscribe at BrianKnowsMovies.com. If you're already on my live, you're already here. Please share the screen for anybody who wants a breakdown on the Big Six anyway, or Big Seven areas for Oscars. Have them check this out, and hopefully they'll subscribe too. Thanks for joining me. BrianKnowsMovies.com, also on Instagram, Facebook. My website's BrianKnowsMovies.com. Thanks for joining me, and y'all let me know what you think. Please, somebody tell me I'm not crazy about this. Please put in the comments. Am I overreacting? I need to know. Peace.